Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you're doing good. I am here in the studio on this lovely summer day, as you can see from the sunshine out the window there. And stuck at home, pet sitting, which, it happens occasionally. My wife is out visiting some family. So I am staying at home and watching the pets and just making the best of it. Trying to learn how to feed myself. I think I'm gonna grill a burger for dinner. I gave up on making lunch and just went to Safeway and bought some sushi. So uh, I'm just kind of puttering around the house, doing some things around the yard, and not really able to get out right now. I do plan to go camping with Chuck and Rob Boy here in the next, not next weekend, but the next, and not sure where we're going yet. And then I think for August, I'm kind of tethered here because I have jury duty as well, so I can't really just take off and be gone for days at a time. So I'm sorry about the dogs; they're snoring. But I'm kind of stuck here for most of July. I got to do I got to do some cool stuff last month. If you guys have following along on the YouTube page, I did a bear hunt with Chuke. That was a lot of fun. Got a couple of videos out of that, and yeah, I'm just trying to do as much with my summer as I can. You know, Alaskans, we have something that we call summer guilt, and it's basically where maybe you have something planned for outside and you do it, and then you make your way inside, or you have some obligation that keeps you tied up inside. And at the end of the day, it's very late, but it's still kind of sunlight. There's still daylight outside, and you're kind of looking out the window like, I should be out there doing something. I should be out there like enjoying the summer more. So we'll see. I've got enough to do outside to keep me busy. I definitely don't have to worry about like running out of things to do. It's just balancing the things I need to do with the fun stuff that I want to do. I'm hoping to spend a lot of time out in the woods in August. We'll see how it goes, and maybe get a little further away from home with that. But again, we'll see. It depends. I thought I would have been out a lot more than I have already this summer, and it's the same story every summer. I'm like, I'm going to be out in the woods all the time, and then by like August, I'm like, oh, I need to get out more. So anyway, enough about that. The reason I'm doing today's video is I wanted to talk a little bit about Superman, the new movie. There's going to be some spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, you might want to wait till you see it and come back. I'm actually recording this on Friday, which is the day the movie comes out. We actually got to go see an advanced screening last night, so Thursday night, and the movie doesn't technically come out to today, although I'm sure they're going to count the advanced screening ticket sales with this weekend's box office, but that's neither here nor there. I've been looking forward to this for a while. If you guys remember, I did a video, geez, it was probably almost a year ago, maybe, about getting fooled by the AI suit, the Superman suit, and I talked a little bit about the movie there, and I mean, as you guys know, and as you guys can tell by looking around, I mean, I'm a big comic book nerd. That shelf back there is full of graphic novels. There's a Batman figure there. There's several Batman figures on the shelf over there, and even over here on the windowsill. There is one. I think I have one Superman. He's back there in the corner. It's actually the Jim Lee Superman. Or Superman and Batman are like bookends, like book. Um, yeah, bookends. And I've got Superman over there. I think that might be. I think that might be the only Superman that I have right now. At least the only one displayed. I might have another one around here somewhere. I don't know. But you guys know, Batman is my favorite, followed closely by Moon Knight. But Superman, he's probably in my top five. Uh, I think Superman is probably the hardest character to write. You guys, if you're familiar with comic book stories at all, Batman is just a regular guy with a very high IQ and a great training and conditioning, but he's still, at the end of the day, he's just a dude. So he has to overcome things basically either with his brain or his incredible fighting ability, but he doesn't have superpowers. So Superman, I think, is very challenging for a lot of people to write because he's Superman. He can do just about anything. So it's very hard to give him a traditional story arc where, hero gets into trouble, faces adversity, gets out. A lot of Superman arcs, if you had to do like a statistics of it, I'm curious to see how many of them involve or revolve around him like losing his powers and not having powers and having to like deal with stuff as a regular human. If I remember correctly, when he got married, when him and Lois got married in the comics, he didn't have his powers at that time. Something happened, and for whatever reason, he didn't have powers. And I remember him like there was like a armed robbery or something going on, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to like depend on my reputation to get me out, to help me with this." And he goes in like dress. He still has a suit, but he doesn't have his powers, so he just basically goes in like, put your guns down and give yourselves up. And I don't remember exactly how it went. Ooh, excuse me. But anyway, he didn't get shot, obviously. Excuse me. So I went to see the movie last night. It started at 7. Of course, it's like a 2-hour movie. Went till 9. Had to drive an hour and a half home. Had to take care of the dogs and then go to bed. I didn't get to bed till almost midnight. And then one of them woke me up early this morning, like having a reverse sneeze fit. If you know what reverse sneezing is, like Google a video of it, you'll see it. It's not coughing, and it's not really sneezing. I don't know why they call it reverse sneeze, but the dogs make a really weird, like nasally, like it almost sounds like they're having an asthma attack or something, I guess is the best way to put it. And one of the dogs woke me up at like 4 o'clock this morning, and I almost didn't get back to sleep. So probably gonna be going to bed early tonight. But anyway, heavy, well, not heavy, but some spoilers for the movie. I really, bottom line up front, I enjoyed it. I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews on it. How some people are saying it's trash, it's no good. I understand. I think where some of those people are coming from. It seems to me, in my opinion, the people that aren't liking it are people that are not comic book fans, people that aren't big into the comics. And it's one of those movies where it kind of just throws you in and you have to keep up. And there's not a lot of exposition as far as the characters go. For example, Guy Gardner is in there. He's a Green Lantern. He has a reputation for kind of being a prick, and he does come off as that way. There's Mr. Terrific, who I'm not super familiar with. I think if I remember correctly, someone he cared about died, like kind of like Batman, killed in a robbery or something, and he's like a super genius, and he was just like, okay, well, and he became like a crime fighter, and he's that kind of like Iron Man in that he invents these high tech. They're called T spheres that do all these different things, kind of like, I mean, they can do whatever the writer wants them to do, honestly, but but he's kind of like a super genius tech guy. And then Hawk Girl, who I have no idea which version of Hawk Girl this is. In the comics, I think the first Hawkman and Hawk Girl were um, they found their wings, or they were like magic or something like that. But then I think it was like either retconned, or there were a different set of Hawk people, and they were aliens that came from I think it's called Thanagar or Thangar, and they were aliens. So I have no idea which version that is, not explained, and honestly, it's not really that important. So there's a lot of like backstory and origins and stuff like that that you could get into looking stuff up. They don't really they don't really give you any homework. They don't say you have to know it. I mean, you can kind of follow along and watch the movie and figure out what's going on. I don't think you really need to know everybody's origin. Uh, and it's good and it's bad. I mean, obviously we don't need to see Superman's origin again. We've seen it half a dozen times. We don't need to see Spider-Man's origin. We don't need to see Batman's origin. You know, we know. Okay, we know how these guys got to where they're at. But with some characters like that, like Mr. Terrific, eh, some people might want to know. They might want to know where he came from. But overall, the movie went by, in my opinion, it went by pretty quick. I enjoyed it. It's made, I think, for comic book fans. There's definitely a very science fiction-y element to it, which I wasn't really expecting. I was expecting it to be a little bit more. I know it sounds silly to say grounded. It's a movie about an alien that looks like a human, and there's a guy in it with a magic ring that makes constructs. But I didn't expect it to be that sci-fi y. There's like a science fiction type menace at the end. There's definitely. I can't say though. I'm trying to think. Is there anything in it that I'm like, oh, I've never seen that in a superhero movie before? I mean, Crypto. There's a superpowered animal. I don't know. Have we seen superpowered animals before? Does Rocket Raccoon count? But I enjoyed it. I will go see it again. I hope it does well. I'm a little concerned about the Batman they're going to have in this universe. Uh, they're doing a version where, if they stick with what they announced, they're doing the version where it's basically Bruce Wayne as Batman and his son Damian is Robin. And I've never been a fan of Damian as Robin, or Damian in general. The way Bruce has a son, I don't really want to get into it too much, but basically one day Talia, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, she was in The Dark Knight Rises, if you watch that movie. But in the comics, one day Talia shows up, and she's always been like pursuing Batman, trying to get him to be her partner romantically, and she's always like wants to be with him, wants to have children with him so that they can take over for Ra's al Ghul or whatever. And she shows up one day and she's like, "Here's your baby," and drops this kid off. Well, he's not a baby. He's like a toddler. Oh no, he's he's preteen, I think. And Batman's just like, "Oh, I've got this kid now," and of course the kid ends up becoming a Robin. Uh, I don't know. I've never been a fan of it. He was raised by the League of Assassins or whatever it is, and he's very, like violent and unruly, and just, father, why do you beat these criminals up? Let's just kill them. That kind of like much darker. And I'm curious to see what they do with that. But again, Damien's not my favorite Robin, and I think a lot of people of my age, their favorite Robin is probably Tim Drake. And in my opinion, most Robins became Robin out of circumstance. Tim became Robin because he earned it. He figured out that Bruce Wayne was Batman, and basically that Robin, the previous Robin, had been killed, and basically went to Bruce and was like, you know, Batman was getting more and more violent because he was dealing with the death of a previous Robin, and Tim Drake shows up basically and is like, you need to chill out, and basically becomes the new Robin. But I knew I was like, I'm gonna talk about the Superman movie. I'm gonna go on a tangent about Batman. But yeah, it was a good movie. A lot of people are comparing it to Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder Superman movie, and I'll tell you, so probably Zack Snyder's Man of Steel is a better film, if that makes any sense. But this, in my opinion, is a better movie. Like, you can sit down with some popcorn, enjoy this. It's a fun ride. Man of Steel is a little bit more serious. And if you guys have ever heard me talk about movies or do movie reviews on here before, I usually mention how there are things in movies, like little nitpicky things, that will just entirely ruin a movie for me and just almost take away my entire enjoyment of it. And Man of Steel has one of those moments, actually two of those moments, but one of those moments that's just, it's almost like a hill I can't get over. And that is where young Clark had saved like a busload of kids, and his father, Jonathan Kent's Kevin Costner's kind of chastising him for it, and Clark goes, "What was I supposed to do? Let him die?" And Kevin Costner, Pa Kent's like, "I don't know, maybe," and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Let's not have Pa Kent contemplating, possibly advocating for the death of children. Like, can we just not do that? I mean, we could have come up with something a little bit better for him to say. I don't know. And then, of course, the way he dies in the movie, where he doesn't let Clark go out to rescue the dog. He does it himself, even though Clark would have been fine. And then, lets the tornado take him away. Spoilers for a however old movie that is, but I don't know. Those two moments just really didn't set well with me. I didn't like the way they did his character. This movie, the new Superman, James Gunn, Superman is raised by much less homicidal people. We don't have his father telling him like, "Oh, maybe you should let those people die." Maybe that's just, hey, it is what it is, right? As long as you're okay, screw those other guys. So none of that stuff going on. I will say there was the part that almost took me out of this movie completely was the woman that played Martha Kent. Holy cow. If that woman cuts herself, she would bleed sweet iced tea and like cornbread. She was overdoing the accent. I mean, to the point where it was distracting. And don't they live in like Kansas? I don't think I know anybody from Kansas, but I'm sure they don't have that thick of like a southern like drawl. I mean, it was like distract. I grew up in the South. I have family that talks almost like that, pretty close, and none of them are that far. Like, it's not that heavy of an accent. It was very distracting, but she didn't have that many lines. I think there's like one phone call. And in fact, the first time we hear her talk, she's talking on the phone to Clark. And it's you can tell, such like an old person. The phone's like on the table, and she's like yelling into it, like, are you doing okay there in the big city? And her accent was so like laid on and thick and heavy. I'm like, she's like joking. She's being facetious, like meta with him, like making, she's like, that's how people expect me to talk in Metropolis. So that's the way I'm going to talk. And I expected her to drop it any second, like, oh, she's going to start talking normal and it's going to be a big joke. and she did. She really talks like that, and that was like, woo, that was a bit much. Pa Kent didn't quite speak as heavy with like a southern accent, but he was very country. Um, Again, like I'm from the South, and there was one time where he was talking about going to get some burritos or something, and I'm like, what is he saying? So I don't know. Other than that, though, I mean, they weren't advocating for the death of children. So I mean, what are you going to do? You know, you either get homicidal Kents or country bumpkin Kents. I guess. I guess you can't have it. You know, you can't just have like normal people, simple people of the earth type people. But yeah, I don't know. That almost took me out of the movie, but I rolled with it. Um, a lot of characters, a lot of like Easter eggs, stuff that isn't really like they don't beat you to death with a lot of things. You just kind of got to know what's going on. Uh, you know, Metamorpho, a character that can like combine and become elements and stuff. He's in the movie, and there's also like in various places in the movie you see uh, things for Stag, Stagg, the business, and Stag is a businessman in the DC universe, and he's very closely tied to the origins of Metamorpho, and but they don't like interact. They don't, you know, you see the Stag building, and then later on Metamorpho's there, but you never see them interact. But that's kind of a cool Easter egg, and it hints that yeah, okay, you know, Stag is here, so you know, Metamorpho is in this universe. Uh, you know, little nods like that. I think a lot of comic savvy people will get. I think I think general audiences, people that aren't savvy with the comics, I think they'll get it. I think they'll understand. I don't think they'll be too confused. Um, People that are big fans of the previous DCU with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, I don't think they'll like it. This is a very much more comic booky, very much more science fictiony. There's monsters, they have like kaiju they're fighting, and it feels a lot more like a comic book than, in my opinion, the Man of Steel ever did. Um, which is good and bad. I do like my heroes a little grounded. I like the grounded aspects of Man of Steel. Whereas in this universe, there's superheroes. They're just around. They've been around for a long time. There's different ones. Uh, Obviously, we know, if you guys watch the Creature Commando series, which allegedly takes place in the same universe, there's Batman's around. He's been around. We're going to get to him eventually. There's like a couple of scenes where you see some like flashbacks to him and silhouettes and stuff like that, but they never really like reveal him because I'm sure at this point they have no idea what he's going to look like. A lot of people are making a lot of conjecture. There's a scene where you kind of see him in silhouette, and he looks like a big, like muscular guy, and they're like, it's gonna be Alan Ritchson because he's so big. And I'm like, no, I don't think they know what he's gonna look like. I don't think they have him cast yet. I think they have some people in mind, but I don't think they know for sure. But let's see, what else bothered me about the movie. So there's a scene. This is probably the biggest spoiler I'm going to give. There's a scene where the movie starts off and we're seeing a message that was on Superman's ship when he got here when he was a baby from his parents, and it's fragmented. The message doesn't, it basically starts off like, hey, we love you. We hope you, are safe. We love you so much. And we hope you do well on Earth. And, you're suited, you're going to be a good fit on Earth and all this. And, hope you help the people of Earth. And then the message basically kind of like cuts out. It's damaged. Well, allegedly, Lex Luthor, of course, this is no spoiler. He gets into the fortress. You see that in the trailers. And he gets the message and he's able to restore it. And it turns out like the second half of the message is basically Superman's parents being like, yeah, once you get there, you're going to want to, assert dominance quickly and just, destroy anyone that doesn't comply or worship you, and make sure you get as many wives as you can and spread your Kryptonian seed so that your legacy lives on, or our legacy lives on, or whatever. And obviously that's a big difference from the comics, where in my mind, the L's, the L's is the house that Superman comes from: Kal-El, Jor-El, Laura-El. The L's, they just wanted their baby to live. They wanted him to be safe. It wasn't, you go take over this planet. He wasn't the conqueror. They were sending him to Earth to be safe, not to take it over. I think in the Man of Steel, there's a good, I think the first like 15 minutes is on Krypton, and Jor-El, Laura is like having second thoughts about sending him off, and she's like, they'll kill him. And Jor-El's like, how? He'll be a god to them. Which, you could say like, oh, well, he's going to be better than them, and he could take them over if he wanted to, but he's not saying, destroy everybody that dissents, that doesn't follow you. So that's a big change. And I kept expecting them to walk it back in the movie. So I kept, like, any minute now, they're going to be like, oh, this was, Luthor fabricated this. This isn't real. And they never did. That's the biggest spoiler I'll probably give, is they never walked it back and said the message was fake. And in fact, Mr. Terrific, this was, I'm sure upon second viewing of the movie, I will find a few more like inaccuracies and like, that's not, how did that happen? That's impossible. But like the news story comes out, and Superman's talking to Mr. Terrific, and he's like, oh, that's got to be Superman's in disbelief. He's like, it's got to be fake. Like Luthor had to like change it. And Mr. Terrific's like, no, man, I know those computer experts that checked it in there. I'm like, it just dropped on the news. Like, how does Mr. Terrific know the bona fides of the people that are like saying, oh, no, it's good? I don't know. It just seemed a little, I know it's a movie about flying people and monsters, and I'm like, that doesn't seem accurate or realistic. But, what are you going to do? That's how I am. So that was a little weird. What else is there that I thought was? I'm trying to focus on my negatives right now. That I feel like, but I feel like they can in the future. They can walk that back if they want to. They can reveal that somehow it was altered, or maybe they said those words, but not in that context, and Luthor kind of chopped it up or something. I figure they can walk it back if they really want to. I think they should. I think the L's, sent Superman or their son to Earth to be safe and not die in the explosion, not to conquer Earth. Although I feel like between dying and conquering Earth, they'd probably be like, oh, go ahead and take care of that problem, son. But yeah, that was a little bit weird. I feel like they're going to walk that back eventually. I think that's probably a lot of people's biggest problem, especially comic fans, with the movie. That was probably my biggest problem, other than the outrageous accent. It was almost like Monty Python, the Frenchman. Can't you tell by my outrageous accent? It's like, I'm from the South. Can't you tell by my outrageous accent? And they're not from the South. They're from like Kansas, the Midwest. So, yeah, that was those were probably my two major gripes. I enjoyed seeing Superman fight some actually powered beings. There's the Engineer, Ultraman, and the Kaiju fight was probably my favorite. And I enjoyed seeing, Superman being Superman. He saves a bunch of people. He saves some animals. It's just he's Superman. I like his like, oh shucks, gosh darn, like sweet, innocent Midwestern type way of doing things. Like it reminds me one time when I was in college and I said something. I was like, "That's swell," and s- some of the people I were talking to, one of the guys like looks to me and was like, "Who in the hell says swell?" And I was like, I guess I do. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like it's just, and I, I I feel like Superman has a lot of those moments where he's like, gosh darn it, and people are like, you're allowed to swear, you're an adult. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Gonna go see it again. Curious to see what they do with Batman. Supergirl is gonna come out next year, I think. Uh, and it's not really a spoiler at this point, I don't think, but there is like a quick Supergirl cameo toward the end. Uh, I mean, it's really quick. It's like a minute, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think maybe her movie will explain it a little bit better. Maybe why she's the way she is, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice departure from the super dark and gritty like Snyder verse, uh, and also a nice departure. Like I don't even remember the last Marvel movie that I watched. Marvel comic book movie I watched. I don't remember even what the last one was because they just all really looked so bleh. And I didn't enjoy Love and Thunder at all. I walked out of the theater and I was like, yeah, that was a movie. And now, honestly, I can't even really tell you what it was about. I don't remember that much about it. Um, I wanted to see the new Daredevil series, pretty much just because that's a Punisher in it. But I don't have Disney Plus right now. Maybe one of these days I'll get it and catch up on a few things. But yeah, I don't have superhero fatigue. I have bad movie fatigue. I just so many of them are just they're just bad. They're bad movies. They're not. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about any of it. Um, I watched a few minutes of the new Captain America movie, and like the writing is freaking terrible. Like there's a scene. It's the very beginning of the movie where the president Harrison Ford, General Ross, goes up to or is talking to his aide and goes, Has Betty, my daughter, called?" And I'm like, that is terrible writing. Like this person knows that Betty's your daughter. Like the only reason they're saying that is so us, the audience, knows. And there's a better way to do that. Like this is a movie that people sat down and wrote and showed that script to other people who looked at it and said, yeah, this is good. Who showed that to other people who said, yeah, this is good. Who showed that to other people who put down like millions of dollars to make that movie. And that's the best they could come up with. Like, holy crap. I did not finish the movie. I don't know any more about it other than what I've seen on some reviews and stuff I've watched. But the few minutes that I did see, I was just like, oh God, this is terrible. It's just the dialogue's terrible. And the effects were they weren't bad, but they were goofy. Like the way their masks and stuff, it just like that quick. And it doesn't look realistic. It looks like a cartoon. It looks like animation. But I don't know. We'll see. I may go see Fantastic Four. I was not planning on it, but I saw a couple of the trailers and they don't look as bad as some of the recent Marvel fare. So I might go see it. Probably wait for some of the reviews before I actually go out and see it. This is actually I'm recording this on Friday. I'm not going to put it out till Sunday and give you guys a chance to go see it. But I think you should. I think Superman is one. It's worth seeing in the theater. Two, it's a good enough story to see in the theater. And three, it's better than anything Marvel's put out in the last several years. So if you're looking for, I mean, and that's the problem. Like, this a great superhero movie? No, it's not. It's not the greatest, but it's good and it's better than anything that's come out. It's basically its success is based on the circumstances of the last few years. Uh, if this movie came out like around the time Civil War was coming out, or like Avengers, Infinity War, or even the first Avengers, it'd be, well, yeah, it's okay, but this is better. Uh, so it's the best of what we've got left, basically. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to see what to do with it. I want to. Good God, these guys are snoring. I want to see what they do with Batman, and there's a series coming, I think, to HBO called Lanterns, where it sounds cool as shit. Where they're going to be like basically space cops, but it's going to be like a murder mystery on Earth. Sounds right up my alley, like a True Detective type story. Sounds amazing. But you guys know how I feel about the last season of True Detective, so we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. But it sounds really cool. And the images, I like Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler is going to play Hal Jordan. Like him, I love him. Great actor. I like the guy. I think the guy that plays Jon Stewart. I think I've seen him in something, and he seems like he's a decent actor. So I think he'll be a good addition. Not sure if they're going to keep on. If this is Hal Jordan's like last hurrah. I feel like I read something where he was training Jon Stewart to take his place, which I don't understand why Earth has so many Green Lanterns. I mean, they've got Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner. Um, from what I understand, most races, most planets, you just have one Green Lantern for your sector or whatever, and then that's it. But somehow Earth ends up with a bunch all the time, and that's a little weird. And most of the time, and they have to be one of like each ethnicity, and gender. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, man, I really don't have anything else for you guys. I wanted to talk about Superman. I hope you guys get out and go see it. If not this weekend, then the second weekend. Let's reward these studios for making better movies. um, I'll probably pick it up when it comes out on Blu-ray, just so that I have it in my collection. I haven't bought a physical movie, in a long time. I usually just, I mean, I have a bunch of movies, but I haven't bought any probably almost since I retired. I've cut back on my spending. I don't buy a lot of like things like that, but I'll probably pick up Superman when it comes out on Blu-ray just to have it. I keep hearing about all these like movies that you can't watch anymore, and it kind of makes me nervous for some because I'm like, oh man, I'd like to see that again, and then it goes off the streaming service, and you can't buy a physical copy anymore. So there's a few movies where I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely want to pick that up on physical media when it comes out because I basically don't want it to be lost. But is the snoring driving you out of here, buddy? I took them out and played with them earlier. It's nice and sunny. We went out on the deck and they played with their ball. They're trying to tire them out. I need to be taking a nap too. Tire them out before I came down here to record, and almost backfired on me because they're snoring so damn loud. But yeah, I will put something out again probably next week. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to get out in the woods, but I'll try to record something, maybe another podcast. I want to get Chuk and Rob together again for another live. People always enjoy those. We have a lot of fun. And I know we're going to go camping soon after that, after next week. So hopefully I'll have some video and highlights from that. I feel like there was something I was going to tell you guys about. I do have a friend of mine, a former coworker. He was one of my lieutenants when I first started in police work. His name is Randy Rosenkrantz, and he just recently published a book called The Believers. And if you're curious, if you go over to the Last Watch Facebook page, I shared a link to that book. Check it out. It's kind of a science fiction, faith-based story. I haven't read it yet, but I think it's a good premise. It sounds like a good story, and I hope he sells a lot of them. I hope it's very successful. So head over and check it out. Again, you can go to my Alasquatch Facebook page, and I'll have a post on there. I think with a link that goes to it. And if it sounds like a book that you might enjoy, check it out and give him a good rating. It's an interesting sounding story. I can't wait to read it. I downloaded it on my Kindle today, and I'm going to get started on it tonight and see where it goes. And I was denied my Jack Carr book this summer. Every summer, Jack Carr puts out a book. He's the guy that writes the Terminal List. And this summer, last month, he was supposed to put a book out, and it got delayed to like October. So I don't have my summer reading got kind of screwed up. There is a new Mark Cameron book out that I have sitting on the table that I'm going to read, probably take with me when I go solo camping. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review of Superman. I do recommend you go see it in the theater. Especially if you're a comic book aficionado, if you're into comics like I am, I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll really like it. It's a comic book movie. It's probably what comic book movies should have been all along. They just throw you in to the universe, and you don't have to take all these baby steps with like, here's this superhero. Now here's this superhero. Now here's this superhero. Now we're going to put them together. It's like there's already superheroes there. There are already some teams assembled, and we're going to throw you in there, and you're going to have fun. And Marvel did it good. I thought I enjoyed the way they did Iron Man and progressed, and then Iron Man was such a success. Though they were kind of like, oh well, let's do this and let's do this, and now let's introduce all these other characters and put them together. But I don't think that was their like grand plan overall. I think that Easter egg was kind of a fun like thing, a wink, wink, nudge, nudge they put in there. I think people were like, oh my God, they're going to do it. And they were like, we better do it so we can make some money. And if you think about it, superheroes existed for a long time in the Marvel universe too, because, Captain America was retroactively like placed in there from World War II. And I enjoy what they did with that, where a lot of the superheroes running around were made or come about in an attempt to recreate Captain America, to recreate the super soldier serum. I like that better than just like a bunch of random accidents that created a bunch of random heroes. And I don't know. I felt like toward the end though, they got a little happy with the super soldiers, and there were just super soldiers running around everywhere. I feel like the super soldier serum, if they get it to work, like it shouldn't work on everybody. Like if you give the super soldier serum to 100 people, you'll get like one super soldier, maybe. If you're really lucky, you might get two, but everybody else just like expires, like doesn't make it through the process or something. But anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Check out the Alasquatch Podcast. I think is it .com? Yeah, AlasquatchPodcast.com website. I've got a little store there. You can order signed copies of my books. Get those out to you. I'm not out camping and adventuring. Check out the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Give it a like. I also do audio podcasts. This will be an audio version and a video version as well. Sometimes I only do one or I go out in the woods and do videos. I just post those on YouTube. And that's it. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to stop subjecting you guys to this torture of these dogs snoring, these puppies. Good Lord, they're sawing logs. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy Superman.